Hey, everybody. It is Legends Thursday. I mean, God, that comes around quick. It just seems like we just had a Legends Thursday. But, so hopefully we get some legends, which we have a couple. My nephew is in town uh, from Florida. Hello, hello, hello. We'll bring him on and we're just going to discuss different things. We got Action VJ in the house and we're going to bring him on. But first, I wanted to tell you that, moving abroad isn't just a financial decision, it's an emotional one. So tonight, we're going to be talking about, one of the biggest reasons people delay or completely abandon their moves, you know, and abroad dreams. So leaving your families and friends behind, all that good stuff. So, did you notice that most move abroad content talks about fun stuff? They talk about food, they talk about beaches, the lower cost of living, the healthcare, the freedom, all those good things. But very few people really talk about the part that can hit the hardest, missing the people you love. Because the reality is, moving abroad can feel like a death to your old life, not in a bad way, in a real way. Your family keeps living their daily lives. Your friends keep gathering. Babies are born. People get sick. Parents get older. Holidays happen and you aren't there. Emotional weight stops a lot of people from ever moving forward. So today we want to talk about the side of moving abroad that people don't prepare you for. So let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Rick, and welcome to our Black Utopia. On this channel, as you can see, though, my beautiful wife is not here. She is in the hospital still. She is doing a whole lot better. She had the surgery, and it was very successful. And we want her to rest up. I love you. I miss you. And we will get you home by tomorrow, by hook, by crook. But anyway, we talk about money, we talk about travel, we talk about life abroad and building freedom for Black folks over 40. So back in 2018, we got a wake up call, Alicia and I. We were getting close to retirement age and looked at our money and it looked crazy, real crazy. But we turned it around. We went from negative 22,000 to over 1 million in net worth. We left the United States, we moved to Portugal, built multiple streams of income, and helped hundreds of other people start their own exit strategy. So, this conversation ain't theory. No, it's not, because we are living it. And if that sounds interesting, subscribe, hit that like button, share with somebody who needs to start thinking globally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my guest, my nephew, Alaric Andrews. Hey, Alaric, how you doing?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, good, good. And of course, y'all know him, Action BJ.
What's up, Rick? What's up, Alex?
How you
Hey,
doing?
BJ, what's going on,
How you
buddy?
doing? So I want to know, and you guys, you're here, so you can talk out loud. But the people that are in the audience right now, I want you to put it in the chat. What would be the hardest for you to leave behind? One, your children.
Mm.
Two, your parents,
Mm-hmm.
your friend group, your community.
D.
Or is it fear of missing important moments? So, you guys out there, drop it in the chat. And Howard, what would be your hardest thing to do?
Oh, children, 100%. I love my babies. I'm a dad first before I'm anything else. So
Okay, okay,
it would definitely be on my babies.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Victor?
I say Z, all of the above.
Oh,
I often think, especially because my people are on the West Coast, I often think about the time zone. So sometimes it feels like we're living in parallel universes. We're both going about our day, but I'm 8 hours ahead of them time wise. So there are times when I wake up in the morning and there was a group chat in the family and there was all kind of stuff going on. And now I want to reply back, but it's 3 a.m. their time. So sometimes I'm tape delayed on those kind of things, and I really try to do a good job of keeping up. But sometimes you're gonna miss stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's crazy. I mean, I think of some of the things. I miss my family. You know, I missed two funerals. In the past couple of years, I miss Alex's mother, who is my baby sister, and my brother, my older brother. Uh, I'm not a funeral person, but still, it still kind of tears at your heart and stuff like that.
Well,
And
thank God for technology because I streamed it and you were able
I
to join the
did.
stream
I
guys,
was able to
because
enjoy the
I
stream,
wanted
and
to
I
make it
thank you
easier
very
for the
much for that.
people. Yeah,
So,
thank
you
God.
know, there's a lot of, you talk to your family about a lot of things about what you want to do, how you want to do things. And, what was one of the first things, Victor,
Yeah.
when you decided that you wanted to come to Portugal, how did you present that to your family? Or did you present it to your family?
Yeah, definitely did. Those are some difficult conversations, uh, um, but they're necessary. I think being Black in America, certainly, I think family can understand why you might want to see a different side of the world, because sometimes what we're presented or told about the world we know is not true. And once you get out there, you really get the opportunity to see it and be a part of it. So presenting it to my family actually wasn't, I was really proud of my family for being as supportive as they were. They were very supportive and still are, about me being here. And Rick, as you know, many of them have come. My brothers, I've had a couple cousins come,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed their company when they're here. And I've got to go back a couple times, and it's not awkward when I go back. I don't feel, sometimes people go back and it was weird, but I was certainly happy to be back in Portugal when I got back from the United States.
So let me ask you this. Did you have any friends? I mean, ain't too many people going to get up in your face and tell you crazy. But did you have anybody say, man, that's insane. You crazy. What are you thinking?
Not anybody. There will probably be people like that if I told everybody. I kept my circle tight. So it was my immediate friends and family, my parents, of course. And those are the toughest conversations, is having conversations with my siblings and my parents and saying, this is what I want to do. This is how long I think I'm going to be gone. I'll be back and I'll be reachable. And I think one of the key things that helps is I'm pretty good about the schedule times. If I told my mom I'm gonna call her on Saturday, I'm calling her on Saturday. I'm gonna call my sister on Sunday. I just talked to my brother yesterday while I was sitting in the park. So I'm pretty good about following up on those type of things, and I think that gives them some ease. I did when I first got here. I did a walk around, a Zoom with my mom, so FaceTime with my mom so she could see my apartment, because mom want to see where my head's going to be at and what that looks like, right? So some things like that are important to make sure they're part of it. Trying to send pictures. We have a family chat, so although I'm not the biggest social media person, in the family chat I try to send pictures here and there just to let them know I'm good, and then the check-ins are really going to be important as well.
Yeah. Now, Alec, you've been in the military service, so you've come to Europe in the military, of course, and we miss
different
you.
time
You were
frame.
in Iraq.
Yeah.
But what would you think on moving to Europe or moving anywhere, and how do you think that would be accepted?
It goes back to the babies. Like if when the babies are grown and older, it's automatic that I want to go somewhere other than the US, whether to visit, to move. I like cultural changes. I like it when it's different than the normal. For instance, I just met VJ today, and great guy. If anyone didn't know, great guy. Like I met him and we sat there and talked for an hour, maybe 2 hours or so. And VJ, it was a pleasure to meet you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, but traveling is just something that I've always wanted to do. It's not always easy, but getting out and doing something out of the norm is huge, and people just get stuck in their daily routine. And it's like, there's more world out there, children want to go to stay in their local schools, their local colleges. There's so many colleges out there that'll show you so much more world than your little circle that you will just be, blown away.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you guys have gotten me scratching that itch.
Okay, because I was wondering. I was like, so did you think when you found out that I was moving out of the country, how did you feel about that?
Well, to be honest, like I didn't grow up around Uncle Rick. I didn't, Uncle Rick was the singing man and traveled. When I met him again at an adult age, he was my favorite person. He was my favorite person. So when I found out he was leaving and he wasn't in the United States where I can go visit him, 3-hour flight, 4-hour flight, it kind of hurt a little bit, no doubt about it. But I was glad he was able to spread his wings and go do something that's out of the norm, to just kind of check off those things off the list. It sucked. It was horrible, but it was also like kind of go be free, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've always been that person.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I've always been the person, the odd duck. I'll call myself the odd duck in the family that wanted to try different things, wanted to do different things, and I did. I mean, I was in entertainment, so
Right.
I was always gone, and it's like you look up and Uncle Rick is gone.
And I had the opposite, Rick, because no one in my immediate circle, I got a lot of friends and family that stay where this is where we were born, this is where we were raised, right? People didn't leave for work, whatever. A lot, I have some people that certainly were in the military, but beyond that, no. But for me, it also came down to how much am I going to regret this if I don't do it? Right. There was certainly some sleepless nights, right? Every time I go down the list, I'm like, they're going to reject me. And then at least I try. And then they say yes. And I think, so I'm going down the line, they're going to reject me again for some visa, for some this, from that. And they're going to say no. And they keep saying yes. And then I'm like, oh man, I really got to do this. Right. And then I started thinking, well, what if I don't? Are you crazy? You have this life. Everything is here there in the United States, and you're going to leave that? And laying there some nights thinking like, yeah, I think I am, because if I don't, I'm always going to wonder what I'm missing. And so at some point you got to do it.
Yeah. So Victor, how do you, and you've already hit on this, but how do you maintain family relationships across borders?
Yeah, I really try to be mindful of everyone's schedule. Some family members are still working, and I try to adjust to them. I don't care what time they want to talk. If they're available to talk, I'll take that. I'll take that out. My phone, even though I turn it to do not disturb at night, my family has the ability to ring in. If somebody rings in, it rings in, and I'm going to take that call and try to make sure that they're a part of it, and then try to be really those appointments I take serious. Like I said, I try to catch my mom on Saturday mornings. I try to catch my sister on Sunday mornings, and I catch my brother all during the week. And other folks, I can catch my niece and nephew and my other friends and family during the week as well.
Wow. And
the schedule thing that you mentioned, that's the most important part, I bet. Timing and that time frame, that time change is huge. So when you mentioned that, I was like, good Lord, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, communications is everything.
And can I give you another idea? Sure. Rick knows at one point in time I worked in the music industry. I just worked at a record label. I wasn't an artist, but me and a buddy of mine that I met from high school, he worked in entertainment as well. And we started something. I came up with this idea, and once a month, on the first of every month, we send each other an album. And then the last weekend of every month, we catch up and talk about the album. So it's like this thing, it's like something we had to look forward to. So Rick, I walk around the city all day, every day. I'm listening to music that he sent me, knowing I gotta make me some notes in my phone, because we're gonna have a conversation about that. And it's something an idea I came up with that I knew we would both appreciate, because we both love music, specifically like R&B and rap. And that has been like, that's the friend that just came this past weekend. We talk music. Okay. It's like we get on the phone, and 2 hours is about nonsense, and then we're gonna spend another 2 hours talking about that album. Those 2 hours we talked about.
Yeah. So the first time I mentioned to a couple of family members that I was moving, and I got the reaction of, "Why are you leaving the United States?" Why you leaving? Why you moving? You know, what's so special about that place? You know, and I shared some, but not all the reasons why I was doing it. And I think I kind of got them to understand that, you know, I'm not doing it to abandon you. I'm not doing it to turn my back and leave and you know, forget about my family and friends and stuff like that. I miss my friends. I truly do. But you know, life be life, and you just go on and do what you got to do to make your life satisfying to yourself. What would you think? I asked Howard, what would you think? I mean, you don't live overseas, but you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
if the question is yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, excuse
I
me.
have.
But if the question was asked to you, okay, what would be some of the major things that would hold you back? Because there's a lot of men that would look at, you know, being asked, married, single, whatever, you know,
Right.
to come overseas to move. And they're like, nah, I ain't never leaving America, and I'm not doing
Right.
this.
Right.
I'm standing and I'm fighting. So, what do you think some of the craziest reasons, you know, of not taking a chance and not moving forward to move abroad?
I think the big one is probably, and this is just a guesstimation, is probably like selfishness. You know, families would probably think it was selfish for an individual to just whatever family, local, more distant, you know, um, would probably find that to be kind of selfish,
Mm.
and that would probably kind of stick out a lot in my mind. Um, but at the end of the day, as I said about you, life goes on. You know, similar to like when mom passed. You know, I told you, I said, you know, one of her birthdays before she passed, I had got her, you know, a passport, and I said, "Where you want to go?" You know, her thinking was smaller. You know, it was more like, you know, maybe a cruise or something like that. And I was like, "What about Germany?" And she was like, "No, no, 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 no." And I was like, "Mom, you remember I was there 5 years. Like I spreche die Deutsch, you know, and I love that country, and I love Spain when I went, and I love Austria when I went. These places exist. They're there.
Yes.
So the thing that holds you back is, you know, it's kind of, I guess, essentially confidence. Um, making that step, making that leap, making that first move to
Do you
say,
think
you
a
know,
lot
this
of
is what
men
I want to
fear?
do.
Do you think a
Fear,
lot
yeah,
of men
fear.
fear
Oh
that?
yeah, that's probably the bottom line of all of
So
it.
it's not just, well, they ain't got the NFL. You know, do they have the NFL Sunday package over
Yeah,
there? And you know, I can't hang out
I'm
and,
the worst one. I love my packages. I love my sports,
I
but I'll
can't
be the
hang
first
around and
one to
drink with
say, "Let's get up
buddies
and
and
get out."
stuff.
That's right.
Yeah,
You know,
$100%.
it's like, you know, football over here ain't a good sport. I mean, you know, it's
Well,
like
they call it the wrong name.
Football.
First off,
FUTBAL. Right.
right,
you're right.
right. But yeah, it's definitely just kind of, I guess, confidence, kind of having that support. You know, um, sadly, our family's dwindling down. You know, and it's just like, where's the support of the love of your life? You know, the family and stuff, and you know, my mom didn't want to travel, but guess what? She has been because of me.
Yeah.
Her ashes have been to multiple countries so far, you
Yes.
know, and
Love that.
I plan on sharing her the more
That's right.
because you know I've gotten your inspiration. Meeting VJ was a big inspiration, you know, to the younger crowd, and just being able to just get out and go.
Right,
You know,
right.
just eventually you just got to get out and go. You can't be afraid of it. Find your fear. Find your
Exactly.
fear. You know.
Exactly. It's like I was thinking like Victor was saying, you know, he makes sure that they see, because one of the things, some of the things that we were talking about, if you're international and you maintain strong connections, you know, you have video calls, you have group chats, you have shared albums, photo albums, you know, you plan visits,
That's right.
You have, holiday traditions,
Yeah.
And because, just because you move abroad or you move anywhere for that fact, doesn't mean that you stop loving the people that you are moving away from. And I
Right.
think sometimes they feel that way. They feel that you are abandoning them. And Black folks have always pretty much been raised, if you don't leave, you stay, because you got to be here for family, you got to be here for to take care, to help out, to do all these different things. And I think people are starting to wake up of that fact and saying, no, I don't have to be there in order to love you. I don't have to be there in order to support you. I will be there
Right.
for you if you want me to,
Yeah,
So-
and Rick, there was a point, I think I talked to you about it before, where when I first started understanding that Black people could travel the world and live outside the United States and not be military or fleeing the authorities, like there's this whole world, group of people, right? When I started realizing that, I remember thinking, man, I wish I had a cool aunt or a cool uncle that lived somewhere outside the United States and I can go visit them. And I realized, well, I guess I'm the cool uncle. I guess I'm the cool cousin and the cool sibling that people can come visit. And like I said, I've been pretty lucky to have some of my family members follow me. And I think that's something that people don't consider, that you're opening the door for somebody behind you. There are people who have considered, like, hey, you got grandchildren, get them a passport for Christmas instead of whatever. Get them the gift too, but get them a passport and give them a taste of something else. I can only imagine as a teenager, if I had been exposed to Europe, I'd have been like, what is this place, right? What are you talking about? Just all the things that we see and love about this city. I can't imagine having, especially because the United States tells us a whole different narrative about the rest of the world.
Right.
And when the more you see, the more you're like, nah, that's way different than what they told me it was like, right? So imagine if you were seeing that as your mind is developing, you start becoming more worldly. I think that would be a great thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's family is important. Family really, really matters. But if we're not, so one of the things is this, and Alicia and I talked about it a lot of times on the channel and to folks, because when we were living in Colorado, Alaric actually lived with us for a while. He actually lived with
don't
us.
let me get started on that story. Thank God they live there and I've joined them. Thank you for letting me go.
But when we were living in Colorado, all the kids and all the family that was living in Colorado moved away, and it was like, okay, we're here, you guys are here, but it was, there weren't Sunday, like back in the day, grandmama had the Sunday dinner, or this happened, or this was going on, or that was going on. Everybody has their own lives to live. But it seemed like the closer we were, the less we saw folks.
All right.
Right, because of schedules, because of work, because of they had their own stuff running around. Sure.
Yeah.
It's so oxymoron, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. So, I
we
mean,
live close. Even when we lived close, like, and I ended up moving out, and it was like, man, where's Uncle Rick? It's
yeah, I
he's
mean,
right around the corner from me.
Around the corner, it's
the corner,
check each other daily.
But life's right.
Yeah. And you understand that, but hey, so
Another thing, Rick, is that people are not going to miss if you take the time to build community, particularly before you get to a place, join those Facebook groups, get in those WhatsApp groups, and build that community. We had Kwanzaa here. We had a Kwanzaa celebration here. There was Thanksgiving here. There was Christmas here, right? You can build that, and you can start your own traditions, right? You might meet someone local that you bring them into your tradition, they bring you into theirs. So there's those opportunities too. So you shouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to miss that. Yeah, you can go, or you can always go home and visit. But if you're not able to, there's things you can do wherever you decide to move to.
Yeah. And then there's a good fact that, that thing that does happen is some families actually communicate more after somebody moves away.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
It seems to become more deliberate to talk to somebody or be with somebody. Some families cut off a member because they felt deserted. I've seen it. they put or put family members put somebody down because they felt that they've been deserted by that family member because they moved on with their life.
Yeah.
So, who would want to feel that way?
But if it's funny because like Alec did, if someone went to the military, you wouldn't be done with them because they moved out of the country, right? But but now because somebody moved, on their own, you're gonna cut them off.
Boards, yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So one of the things we always talk about also, I mean, we always talk about our funds, the different funds you need. And I'm going to just bring up one and you get your opinions on that. And that is the emergency fund. To me, is a very, 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 very important fund because, that is needed for emergencies, things that take place, things that, you weren't maybe expecting to happen, but they happen. So it's very, very important. So what would you say, Victor? What do you feel about people having a strong emergency fund?
Especially, I think the further you are away from home, I think it's essential. You have to have it. It's because you don't know what the circumstances are going to bring, and if you never need it, great, you never need it. But to have it, not only the emergency fund, but that also goes to back what I said, community. Remember last year when we had that blackout, the group chat here in Portugal was, who needs water? Has anybody talked to so-and-so? I'm by so-and-so's house. Maybe I'll walk by and make sure they're okay. So it's also that community too. But the funds, you got to have the funds because, and it's not just because something happens here and you got to start all over, whatever. What about there's something happens at home and you need to fly back, or you need to, do some support to the family back home, things like that. So it's not just you personally in your own space where you are in your new country, but it could be something back home that you have to deal with. So you want to have those emergency funds. You don't want to be out there having miscalculated your finances and things like that. That's why you got to get in community. You have to talk to people who are on the ground where you want to go and make sure that you're budgeting correctly. When you do your scouting trips, make sure that you're going into the market, make sure that you're going to the pharmacy, check those prices and make sure they match up with whatever your planned budget is, and continue to build that budget until, depending on what your timetable is. I know, Rick, you guys talk about, I think you guys have 2 years, which is probably the most extreme I've heard, but I'm sure you're not mad about it once you got here, and that made it comfortable for you to feel comfortable to leave, right?
Yeah, I mean, emergency funds, like you said, if you're not using it, you don't have to stop putting in it. You continue to, grow it and grow it and grow it and grow it. You can invest that money. You can use that money for investments and stuff like that to move forward. What are your thoughts on it, Alaric?
Emergency funds, oh my. If you don't got them, get them. Yeah. Anything can happen. We've seen that recently, right?
Yes.
I also seen it, when my mother passed, everything wasn't set up. But not everything was set up, cremation, service, none of that. Emergency fund helped me, able to allow her to have a celebration of her life and move her on to the next life, right?
Right.
So
right.
Emergency fund in this aspect, yeah. I mean, thank you for letting me stay at your place, right? Geez, I can't express it enough.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
helped me out a deal, and it's hard because I'm talking about mom, and she's still.
Yeah, I got you. I know.
It's really hard. So
this is why we constantly talk about emergency funds, because an emergency fund isn't just about money.
No, it's not. Yeah.
It creates emotional safety.
Yes, that's
because
huge.
When you have cash reserves, you have options. So you could book last-minute flights, help family members, handle crisis without panic. Without emergency fund, every family issues feels like a potential disaster, and it does. But it keeps fearful people really, really stuck.
Yeah.
And who likes
having it keeps them at bay, keeps it at bay, like your fears are good, right?
Well,
Yeah, so
you run
having
out
it.
of reasons. You run out of reasons to say why you can't go. Like, okay, money's not the reason. Okay, the emergency fund's not the reason. Okay,
Yeah, somebody
safety's not the
mentioned you
reason.
sleep better,
Right? Yeah. Right.
It's just like, that insurance, right? So thankfully I had it, thank God, and was able to help mom in her celebration of life. So, and now it's time to build it up and to travel because I'm learning so much more from Uncle Rick, VJ, and Halisi. For crime's sake, that woman, I love arguing with her.
And,
I
you know,
argue with
I'm
her
still
just to,
arguing,
just to
well,
learn more.
they have a
Argue with her
debate.
to learn more.
Yeah, they have
Really
a
do.
debate in the hospital.
Yeah. Yep. Halisi, you heard me. It's
So, I
really
mean,
just to learn more. That's all.
and folks, if wherever you move, if you decide to move abroad or whatever, it doesn't have to be forever. It doesn't have to be your forever home. You know, some people act like it's a life sentence if they decide to go somewhere or be somewhere, and they're being made to feel guilty for going or being.
I did
And
mention
it's
that
like,
earlier. Yeah.
no, you don't have to feel that way at all. At all. I mean, I love Portugal. I think Portugal is beautiful. Is it our forever home? Who knows? Who knows? So anyway, we're at 31 minutes, and this is we don't take questions today, or we usually take one question, but I don't. Let me see. What are the comments saying? Oh, the first question is,
I see you, Auntie.
Alicia's in the chat.
I see you, Auntie.
So, okay, for men, for the guys out there, because it's important. Women are the main group that will make moves. And I'm not going to, I'm not man bashing or anything like that, but it's true. It is very, very true. Women take the lead. Okay. So, what would you say, Alaric, to men who might be hesitant, might be fearful, might be egotistical, whatever? It's like moving me out of my comfort zone. What would you say to them?
Pass. Go to someone else. I got to think about that. That's heavy. That's a heavy question.
Yeah.
There's so many layers on that. It's, geez. VJ, I'll wait until after you.
First of all, I have said this out loud before. I'll say it out loud again. Not just women lead the way. I say Black women lead the way. Right?
Black women, truly.
Black women lead the way. And when you're looking at this opportunity, I go back to something I said earlier. For me, it also came down to how am I going to feel if I don't go? I don't have to, because I think sometimes people, when they get into this process, they think I'm going to go to this country and that's where I'm going to be forever. And if it doesn't work, I failed. And that's not the case. Starting that process, you may land in another country and realize this has everything I want except this. I realize whatever. Like for me, I talk about time zone. Besides access to my friends, immediate access to my friends and family, or quick access to my friends and family, my biggest issue with Portugal is time zone. I just hate that, that I miss a lot of stuff, whatever, right? So, but getting out is the first step. And then you can figure out sometimes those little things. Alec, I'll tell you right now, Rick knows, I stay up till midnight to watch my sports, right? So I'm up till, the sports don't start here till midnight. And then I'm up till 3 trying to catch, whatever. And then I fall, that's why I take a nap every day like I did after I left y'all this afternoon. So I built that in. But there's a way. If you want it to happen for yourself, there's a way to do it. You're just going to have to adjust. That the fear men have, because they are oftentimes the buck stop. And if something goes wrong, they feel like all the weight is all the reason and all the negativity is going to fall on them. And there's a certain fear with that. So there's certain ways you can do. Again, in our community, we have a fantastic men's group that we get together and talk a lot of trash. But I can also get in that men's group and say, you know what, fellas, I'm having this issue. Can somebody help me out? And sometimes it's like, hey, do anybody know where I can get a flathead screwdriver? Because I cannot find one in this country. And it's something like that, or something like, hey, I'm really feeling, disconnected from my family, brothers. How are y'all handling that? And we can sit around and talk about that. There is support out there, and there is a way for you to do it. You just got to reach out sometimes.
Yeah. And touching on that, Rick has given me this past week therapy I've needed, right? He's, kind of built my confidence back up. Because I've been through a lot in the past 4 years or so, dealing with mom and sadly a divorce and everything else. But, the confident building is huge. And having somebody on your side is huge. Being able to talk to somebody about those things, if I talk to my best friend in Michigan, let's say from Michigan, and he's like, I don't know, man, I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if you can, go out and live life in other countries and move around and travel and all that thing. But then I talked to Uncle Rick and he says, you know what? I did it. VJ did it. The people do it. And essentially it's just like posting something online. Just post it.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and think about it all the time. And I'm not saying to do something drastic. I'm not saying to do something just off the tip, like right off the tap, It's more like, okay, I could do this. Don't find your fear, and I've already been around overseas, so I know how to deal with it. Uncle Rick was like, I'll meet you at the airport. And I was like, if you can, great, but I'll figure out a way to find you. Don't worry about it. Because I've done it, and then the fear of not doing it is even worse, right? It holds you back from even making that moment, to making that jump. So I've done it before. I have gained that fear, right, of making that jump. But actually following along here now, it's like it's not hard to do. It really isn't. If you've got your financial setup, if you've got your support group, which the Black Utopia's been doing for me, if you got that core, then you can do anything you can imagine, right? Yeah. And it's really, I mean, the U.S. is expensive to live in, right? Living in some other country, and it's not that it's a lower grade of living. It's just you can make the dollar go longer, right? You can make the dollar go further. I don't know the ins and outs of that, but I'm learning it, and I can't wait to learn more. So my mind is just like open and ready. Come on, what you got, Lucy? Where's she at? That's my teacher. Rick and Elise are my teachers, right? Because, good Lord, I need it. VJ, we're gonna exchange some stuff too, so we can talk.
Got it. You got it.
Right. So it's been a great experience this week that I've had out here with you, Uncle Rick and Elise. I wish I saw her in her element, but it's all good. I know she's being taken care of. This right here is an eye opener. That's all I'm saying. It's an eye opener.
We'll have that story for it, but I want her to tell the story.
Yeah, for sure. But it's been an eye opener to just kind of learn the tricks and trades and see the pains and the love and the goods and the bads of all of it. I've seen all of it in this past week, right, Rick? Right. I've seen the great, the fun, the travel, the pain, the hurt, and all that stuff. I've seen it all.
That's a great example to Black men. Get out, get into community and get out. For Black women who have Black men, whether those be partners or children that they want to, get them in community, get them in the element where they can see the example. They can see the example on YouTube. We want them to do that too, but then get them on the plane and if they can only spend a week, then it's a week, and try to make sure they're connected with the people that you think can answer the questions or address the fears that they may have. That community exists. You just got to connect with it.
Yeah, and off of what you're saying, address the fears that they may have. It's like, guys, if there's hesitation, if you're listening to your woman, your wife, love of your life, and listen to her brilliance. Listen to her. Don't ignore her, because, she's going to do what she needs to do to keep her family safe. She's not going to lead you down the wrong path. She's going to show you different things. And the only way that you can find out about a lot of things, because I think what stops us men is if we've never experienced it before. We've never been before. And then in our ear comes somebody else that's never done it before, that's never been there before. And we become like-minded. Yes. And come up with excuses why we don't need to do it. and what's bad about doing it, So at the end of the day, we have to stop and think this journey is about building a life that aligns with your peace. Okay. And sometimes that requires distance, not because you don't love people, but because you're trying to survive, to thrive, to breathe. And the beautiful thing is, love can travel, communities can travel, families can evolve, and life goes on, even across the ocean.
That's right.
So if this conversation spoke to you, and I thank you both for being here, if this conversation spoke to you, make sure you hit that like button, you share the stream with somebody who is struggling with the emotional side of moving abroad or just taking a chance doing things. And tell us in the comments, what would be the hardest part for you to leave? Hey, you guys asked for it. We got the merch store up and running. We got hats. We got shirts. We got mugs. We got a whole lot of stuff. The luggage tags. I got to order some luggage tags. Yeah, even I have to buy them. So that tells you right there, So yeah, definitely join us, sign up, become a Utopian legend. You're going to be a legend, Alaric. You got to.
I'm going to. I'm sold. I'm sorry, I haven't been. Serious. It's my uncle and aunt, and I haven't been. Now it's time to step up and step in. So
yeah, we got to definitely make you a legend. And for all the legends out there that didn't pop in the studio, hey, next time we'll be here again, and definitely come and visit us. And with that, we love you. Thank you guys for being here, and we're going to talk to you Sunday.
Turn on the bell, notification bell.
Hit that bell.
Hit that bell.
Not a dream, a destination. Our Black Utopia.